All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Monday Magic Mood Boost for September 22nd, 2025. Today will be the Libra Equinox. It is not quite yet. The sun has not quite gotten into Libra yet, but it will be soon in just a few hours. And we will get to talk about how we're going to kick off the autumn season if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and the uh, spring season if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. So, welcome. My name is Crystal and Sophia. I'm your friendly astrological magician, and we get to talk about this together. And AJ, it is so good to see that you are here and well. Hi. Oh, so while we are waiting for some people to pop in, I'm so glad you're doing well, AJ. I was thinking about you all weekend. And also just really impressed that you are here. So thank you for your incredible commitment. Yeah, I get it. I have been running around like mad this morning because I'm getting ready to jump out to Thailand at the end of this week. So I am gathering all the things I need in order to be able to travel, which is fun. And if do you want to hear the drama that happened this morning? So I had to do the talismans for everybody in Thailand, which I was really excited about doing. And I got to do them a little bit earlier than anticipated because as I was finishing up some of the exercises that I do in the mornings right now, Dan came downstairs and our dog Zelda did not come with him. Now that's sus. Zelda is a herding dog. Hey, Kristen. Um, Zelda is a herding dog. And so she, better than Jack anyway, will make sure that she knows where you are and she will be around you at all given times. So when she came down, or she didn't come down with Dan, we were both really suspicious and we started searching the house. And of course, I have my suitcase with a pile of things on it, getting ready for Thailand that I will then pack up probably tomorrow. And she had gotten into my protein bars. And I love chocolate. So she had gotten into protein bars that, of course, have some level of chocolate in them because that's what I love. And so we had to call animal poison and do the whole thing. She right now is doing really well. I'm going to stand up for a second just to make sure it's her huffing over here. Yep. She's fine. She has been dancing and playing and doing all those things. And fortunately, here's my big hot tip. The good news is that I know yet again, right, Echo? The good news is Quest bars do not use xylitol, and the amount of cocoa they actually use in their bars is minimal. And, like, I don't know what that means for us who really love chocolate, but what it means for Zelda is that it was not nearly enough to be in the dangerous zone for her at her weight range. So Zelda is fine. I am being a little bit of a helicopter parent on her today. But if anybody's ever watched the Alchemist Inkwell podcast or anything like that, you know that Zelda sometimes gets into trouble against her best interests. So Zelda in the past, let's see, Zelda has eaten an entire bag of sugar-free gummy bears. Zelda has eaten someone's prescription medication. And now Zelda has eaten a protein bar and a half this morning. And every time she just powers through it. The prescription medication, she totally let that back out, if you know what I mean. But she's just, I don't know. She has this I guess, complex that she just gets into those things. So yeah, she is okay. But if you see me glancing around, it's because I'm just double checking that she's okay because we really care about her. If I could lift her right now, I would bring her into the frame, but I am still not allowed to lift much more than my water jug, at least with this arm. And Zelda requires 2 arms. So I will let her remain on the floor for now. But Danny, good morning. It's good to see you. So knowing that Zelda is in fact okay, I'm okay. And hopefully you all are okay as well. AJ is okay, which is fantastic. If anybody wants to send healing energy, I'm sure AJ might appreciate it too. AJ, you can let us know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. I won't share the story, but AJ is doing okay, but could probably use some extra energy as well. I have my first physical therapy for my shoulder today. Oh, big bummer. Apologies to everybody who was as excited as I was for the opportunity for dash cam footage of the car accident. No, the person that said that they were going to make sure I got that did not, in fact, make sure. And so they are lost into the populace now. And I will likely never get that dash cam footage, which bummed me the heck out over the weekend. I didn't realize I was like using that as one of my little breadcrumbs, but I was. And so, yeah, I will not be getting the dash cam footage. So you're just going to have to take my word for it. So yes, and anybody who's interested in AJ's story, I'm not going to say it out loud on the camera. If you are here in the comments, you can see it. And so that way you can know a little bit more about what you are sending into into the energy for AJ. And AJ says that they believe me. So I appreciate that, AJ. Thank you. I'm really doing a diligent job of making sure that every time I tell the story, it remains the same, because I don't want that story to become exaggerated over time. But it's still a really good story. So yeah, I will be telling it a lot. I just wish I had the video to show as well. It would have been really fun, not even for like legal purposes, but just to see my stunt person moment that I will never do again. So yeah. So that's how that is. But yeah, over here, we're spending today's equinox witnessing the sun coming up and witnessing the sun going down in equal hours of day and night. And then also, I've been doing a lot of magic today already. I will be doing a lot of magic this week in general, because I have a couple clients that I'm doing magic on behalf of. And while I will take the incantations and the spoken spells that I'm using for them on the trip with me, and I will still do them at the appropriate times, I will not be able to take a lot of the like material things on the altar with me. So I am leaving some instructions for Dan to like tend to and keep alive some of the more organic materia that I have over there. And I will be doing the rest energetically from where I am in the world. Yeah. Yes. So that's going to be fun too. I am really excited. I have all like the clothes kind of set aside that I'm going to do, and I've got my whole plan figured out. And I've already, because we're going to be going through Korea for part of it, and it's a very tight connection, I've already done like a virtual run through of Terminal 2 of the airport that we'll be doing, so that I have an idea of what that is, so that I can make sure I navigate us pretty well for that. So this is the kind of preparedness you get if you go on a trip with Emily and myself, which is really fun. Hey, Shauna, it's good to see you. So what plans do you all have for this equinox? What are you excited for? If you put it in the comments, I'll say it out loud so we can give each other inspiration. And then, yeah. And then we will be able to sort of celebrate that together. Again, I'm going to witness sunrise and sunset. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just to watch nature do what nature is doing at this time. I also have already done some candle ritual stuff this morning. I made the talismans for everybody who's going to Thailand this morning. That's super fun. And they felt really good. It was right at they're pretty lunar-esque talismans. Thailand's tradition, the open practice I was able to find, didn't incorporate planetary elements into it, but I noticed there was a lot of similarities to a lot of lunar things down to the number that was into it. So I decided to do it on a Monday as the sun was rising, but because the moon is new right now, it was also when the moon was rising. So it's moon day, moon hour, moon rising in Libra, and in the beginning of Libra, which is a better place for the moon to be. Fun fact, in horary, and sometimes considered an astrological magic as well, there is a part of the sky from 15 Libra to 15 Scorpio that is basically, it's called the Via Combusta, which of course, if you try to translate that, is like the burning road. We don't really know what that's about. The moon in Libra has no major issues, but in Scorpio, the moon is in fall. So we assume that that's like the degrees we'd rather not have. Now, the other explanation for this may be more ancient, but this is a medieval concept that emerged. But at the time, Libra was a part of the Scorpio constellation for a while. There were like 2 constellations of the Scorpion that were used, and then eventually it was made into Libra versus Scorpio. So Libra used to be the claws of the Scorpion, and now it is the scales. So it may be that because of that sort of transition in the stars, we have something, but that's just my guess, mildly educated as it may be. So Let's see. Hang on. I'm going to catch up on some of the questions here. Uh, Shauna says, I heard an owl hooting outside our window this morning, totally planning on a simmer pot. I love simmer pots for this time of year. I may do that too, depending on the time that I have today. I may also do it tomorrow because I have more time and it will still be the season. So that's fun. Any special food excursions you will be doing with the group? In Thailand, we're actually going to get to make our own coffee. I'm really excited about that. We have a street food tour, and then we have a lunch kind of with a local village. So we'll be going to a village. We'll be doing a traditional kind of basic lunch there. Greg, hey, it's awesome to see you. So yeah, it's going to be really food focused. I'm excited about that because Thai food and like all the food from that region of the world are my favorites. So I'm really excited. Yeah, anybody who's doing soup right now, it's a great time for that too. I'm trying to think of some warmer things to put in. It's been a summer of assembly, I guess I would call it. Pretty much everything. We haven't used the stove this summer. Let's put it that way because you can. Hey, Ren, pumpkin muffins sound amazing. That's a great idea for right now. So one of the things that you can see emerging here already is using the seasonal foods, the seasonal ingredients. And because we are coming into a time of the year in the Northern Hemisphere of cooler air, you would balance that with warmer foods, things that would then help to sort of give you balance to whatever elements you're working on. So you guys have wonderful knowledge and instincts, and I love that. Cool. I'm going to put my arm up here for a second. Yeah. Awesome. So as far as the equinox goes astrologically, I can go into some of the astrology of the equinox with you. We can go over the chart itself, and I'll get to give you some context about how, in this case, the equinox chart factors into the astrology of the year for the United States specifically, because in different locations, it's going to be different. And I can explain that to you as well. So if you want a bit of an astrology lesson on that, let me know. Shauna, thank you for asking about my shoulder. It's doing well. In fact, it's doing so well. Sometimes I forget a little bit too much. And so I'm having to be very conscious about it just because it's going well. I have my first physical therapy appointment today. I'll have one more before I go to Thailand. I'm really excited about that because I want to make sure I have as much progress to work with as possible. But I will be, it has been requested that I wear a sling through the airport and in the evenings on the trip. So if you see some pictures of me in a sling and some pictures of me not in a sling, it's not that I'm faking it. It's just that that's kind of what has been recommended. So that's what it's going to be. It's what it's going to be. It's going to be probably, it's a 6 to 12 week recovery process. I'm hoping that because of my strength training and conditioning before the accident and how well I rolled with it, I'm hoping I lean more towards the 6 weeks. I'm certainly committed to doing whatever it takes to help with that. Yeah, Thailand is like soon. I will be leaving on Thursday morning very early. So we'll be flying from where I am to Boston and then taking a 15.5-hour flight from Boston to Korea, and then taking a 5.5-hour flight from Korea into Thailand in Chiang Mai. Yes. So yes, the good food in Thailand will lift my spirits a lot. And also you want to hear something spiritually cool? So my students, because they're awesome, have requested in our astrology lesson this week that we go over the astrology of the accident to sort of see how the astrology explains it. And I went over it with what I had seen. And then my mentor pointed out a couple other things even more than I had seen. And it was always going to happen. So it was there. And this is why, you don't look at your astrology too deep all the time, every day, because if stuff's going to happen, just roll with it. Right. Could I have avoided it? I don't know. That's a whole philosophical debate I can get into later. But it is there. And so I will be showing them the astrology of it later. However, another reason that I kind of feel assured that this is the way things are supposed to be at this point, and therefore, there's nothing wrong, I just have to work alongside it, is several things that aligned in a way that normally would not be this way. So one of the things is that normally I solo travel to these trips, as many of you know, but this time I'm taking a friend straight from where I live all the way there. Now that's unusual. Normally, maybe I'd meet someone at another airport or whatever, but this friend happens to be where I am. And so I will be going from where like the whole trip, I will have someone there to help me. And that's incredible because I will not be able to put baggage in the overhead, which is okay because my bag fits under the seat anyway. But on the way back, I might need help with that too. And who knows, right? So it's really interesting that that happened when I was going to need assistance. Weird and awesome, right? And then the second thing is we were originally going to be riding bikes in Thailand for one of our ruins tours. And that got changed the week before the accident to instead they're going to be taking us on little trams, maybe like tuk-tuks. And so we won't be biking anymore, which is great because biking might have been hard for me. It's hard for me on a normal day, I'll be honest with you. But that changed as well. So it looks like in Thailand, I won't be missing out on anything. I have to adjust a couple things, but I won't be missing out on anything. It just happened to work out that way. So I'm really grateful and excited for that. And then also the astrology showed up. And yes, because I'm going to be wearing a sling, I will likely be able to pre-board. We're not going to be taking my normal airline to Thailand. So I will, normally I get priority boarding anyway, because I travel enough that I've built up the points in the whatever. Hi, Kiki. But yeah, so the sling will help me and my friend get on, and we'll be able to situate so we're not in everybody's way and feeling rushed when everybody else is also trying to get on the plane. Yeah, so it's nice. It's working out. And of course it is, right? So that's really fun. Yep. So that's going to be really, really helpful and appreciated. And again, I'll be doing exercises while I'm there every morning, whatever it takes to strengthen the shoulder, and I'll have the opportunity to rest it. And Thailand is much more of a laid back trip anyway. Like there are trips that we go on where we're doing really cool things like, hikes and all this other stuff. This is not one of those more active trips. So if I'm going to have an injury for a trip, this is the one to have it on. This is actually one that is prioritizing rest, recovery, and all those things. So again, it just works out really well, almost as if to accommodate the fact that I was going to be this way. And I, again, appreciate it. Definitely excited about that. Yes. Just catching up on this. Yeah, I'm excited to tell everybody about the Thailand trip. It's going to be really, really fun. I've been looking forward. My energy has been in this trip all year long, even through other trips that we've gone through. This has been the one that I've been anticipating, which is why I was extra bummed that I got injured before it. But again, we'll roll with it. Literally. I will not be open. I promised AJ I wouldn't open doors for people. Normally I like to be that person who opens doors for other people, and chivalry is not dead with me. But this time, because of the shoulder, I have promised AJ I will not do that so that I can allow my shoulder to heal. So I see you, I hear you, and I respect you, AJ. Thank you. Yep. Nicole, good morning. Yeah, I appreciate you guys that, there are several people who come here, they listen, and they also have to do their work. You're here anyway. So to people like Nicole and Kristen, I appreciate you. Thank you for working this in to your schedule. I know you're busy, and it's great that this offers the value that it's worth it for you. That's really, really cool. So with all that, would you like to sort of go over we'll call it world astrology, which is also called mundane astrology, but world astrology is a little bit more accurate. World astrology 101 kind of stuff to go along with our Libra Equinox today. I'd be happy to do that. And in fact, yeah, I'm set up to do it appropriately. So let me know in the comments if you want to go over that, or if there's things you'd rather talk about. I'm here for you. What I get out of this, guys, is your companionship, your camaraderie, how amazing all of you are. The rest of it on my part is how I can be here for you. So I'm happy to show the chart, and then you can watch it again on the replay if that's something you're interested in. But we can do that. So yeah, we have tons of time to do that. So just one or two people, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see the mundane astrology for the equinox, and I'll explain the minutia as well. And then you can have some astro fun facts for your next cocktail party, which this is one of those that I really like sharing that to my students on Tuesday. So tomorrow we'll be doing our astrology lesson. You're going to get a couple astro cocktail party facts. So there's some really interesting ones in there. Awesome. And if not, let me know in the comments what you guys would like to talk about more. For everybody who's joined us a little bit later than 10, we do already have some suggestions of things to do today. Simmer pots are a really great idea. One of my favorites is just witnessing the sunrise and the sunset, because you get to see that whole equal sunrise and sunset hours. Cooking soup has been a popular one. Someone's doing pumpkin muffins. That counts. Like, all of this is magic, right? You're doing something aligned with the seasons, with the intentions, taking in the energy of it. And the way it makes you feel is really integral. And that's one of the most important factors to the magic itself. So, okay. I think what I'm going to do, we don't have a lot of interaction in the comments. I'm going to assume, based on previous weeks, that you guys don't mind seeing the chart. So instead, if you're like, oh God, please don't talk about the chart right now, put that in the comment really quick. Just put like a no. I won't take it personally, but that's how I'll know. Otherwise, in about 5 seconds, I will bring up the chart and we will go over that. And then I can still also field your questions. Okay. So I am going to share the chart for the Libra Equinox. I'm actually going to show you right now. Okay, so yeah, this is the chart for now. And we can see that if I update it to now, what we're currently at is we're in Scorpio rising. The sun is up still in Virgo. You can see here the sun is at 29 and 50 minutes of Virgo. So the sun is about 10 degree minutes away from that Libra equinox that we are looking for today. The sun is also opposite Saturn, separating from what it was during the eclipse yesterday. If anybody has any eclipse stories they want to share, I'm open to hearing those too. Dan and I, there's a fun Scottish phrase called Herkel Durkel. And that's what we set aside yesterday to be. So yeah. So yesterday was a Herkel Durkel for us, which just simply means a do nothing day. And I think that that was as appropriate as it could be for us. Gabe, hi, it's good to see you. So I'm going to show you one thing that's going to tell us how, in a mundane astrology, sometimes you only need one chart for the whole year. Sometimes you need 2 charts for the whole year, and sometimes you need 4. And so I'm going to show you how we tell what that looks like. Yeah, I love a good Herkel Durkel too. Okay, so if we go into, if you're using Luna, you can come into solar ingresses, and this puts us to the Aries ingress for this year. Now, my location is very close to Washington, D.C., so this does not change the rising sign. The rising sign for this year is Aquarius. Now, I know a lot of people are multitasking this morning. If you want to, sound off in the comments if you know anything about what Aquarius is as far as an element and as far as modality. Modality would be cardinal, fixed, or mutable. So Aquarius, as far as elements, air, water, earth, and fire, and then modality as far as cardinal, fixed, and mutable. I'm going to give a couple seconds for people to have a chance to type. And then I will let you know that Aquarius, believe it or not, AJ got this. Amazing. And so did Ren. Fantastic. Aquarius is a fixed air sign. I know it's Aquarius. However, it's the water bearer, not the water. Just trust me on that. So it is the water bearer. The water then kind of goes into where Pisces is. It's pouring water on the fish. You could see it that way. And so, yes, air high fives to both of you for nailing that. So we have a fixed sign. Now, if you go by Abu Mashar and Masha Allah, who are some astrologers that were working during the Islamic era and doing incredible work with mundane/world astrology, one of the things they tell you is in the Aries ingress chart, which is what this is because the sun has come into Aries at 0 degrees and 0 minutes. In the Aries ingress chart, you look at the rising sign. If it is a cardinal chart, you are going to need the Aries ingress and you are going to need the Libra ingress because the year is going to have 2 major parts with 2 separate themes to it. If you have a fixed rising sign, you only need the Aries ingress because the theme of the year is going to be more or less consistent throughout the year. So the singular chart will tell you what you need to know, and that will be relevant throughout the entire year. If you have a mutable chart, you would look at all four seasonal ingresses. So that would be the Aries ingress, followed by the Cancer ingress, followed by the Libra ingress, followed by the Capricorn ingress, knowing that each season is going to have sort of a different theme to it. So in this case, we have a fixed sign, which means the Aries ingress chart is going to be our main theme for the entire year. Both of my dogs are laying on the same bed. It's really cute to me. And by the way, anybody who's wondering, Zelda is doing great. For anybody who came in late, Zelda had a protein bar and a half this morning out of my luggage. So we were being very careful with her. But the good news is Quest protein bars do not use xylitol and do not have enough cocoa in them to be poisonous to dogs of Zelda's weight and higher. Zelda's about 25 pounds. So she's doing great, and maybe a bit of a tummy ache, but I don't think so. She's been barking at things like mad anyway. So this is the only chart we really need to let us know about the year of 2025 in the United States, right? If you change the location of this, the rising sign will also change. So if you're in a different country, or even if you're being specific to your state or your locality, the rising sign would change. And that would let us know that in your area that you are reading for, things might have more going on in that year, or there may be more themes to the year, and you may have to consider more charts. To use this in general for the United States, using the capital of the United States, and like I said, this is very close. It's only going to put it off by a minute. We would do this. So we have just this chart, and that means that for this country, there's just the one chart that we are considering for the year because it's a fixed rising sign. So that's what we think of. Now, for funsies, we can still look at the chart for the Libra ingress. Actually, it was still on that page. Cool thing over here, my water bottle was blocking it, is you can see a quick link to all of the charts. So if we come into the autumn equinox, now we see that around 2:19 p.m. today, the sun will come into Libra, beginning the autumn equinox in the northern hemisphere, the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere. It's a neat little chart, actually. There's only a couple things on here that I'm like, bummer. So we have the sun in Libra, and I like that. Cool. So they were giving each other high fives on the emojis, and I liked it. Sorry. So we have the sun in Libra, Mercury is nearby, and the moon is new, and it's 10 degrees away from the sun, which was that partial solar eclipse that we experienced yesterday. I would prefer it to be a little bit more, like 15 degrees away from the sun, but it is what it is, and it's doing all right there. It's now separating from the eclipse in any case, so we like that. It's not as corrupt of a situation anymore. Corrupted as in like the energy being all wonky. So we've got that going for us, and it's right around midday-ish, right? So the midheaven here shows us where the sun culminates during the day, and the sun is about 2 hours past that ish. So we see that the sun is beginning its way towards setting, but still in that culminating area of the chart, still in the same sign as that culminating point. So we kind of, that's nice enough for me. We also have Mars is now in Scorpio, the sign of his domicile. But what we want to look for here is it's Libra, right? So it's Libra season. If we wanted to just look at Libra season, or maybe the next 3 months that are encompassed by this equinox until the Capricorn solstice, we look at the ruler of Libra. Does anybody want to say in the comments, Ren, AJ, anybody else, who the ruler of Libra is? I'll give you a couple seconds, and then don't worry, I will also just tell you if we don't get a lot of feedback. Oh, but Ren's already got it. Yes, it is Venus. Venus is over here. How does Libra and Aquarius? Venus. AJ, when you say how does Libra and Aquarius, let me know if there's something that there's a question in there. But yeah, so Libra and Aquarius are both air signs, but we're looking at Venus in Virgo. Now, here's the thing about Venus in Virgo. Venus exalts in Pisces. Pisces loves to have her there. She loves being there. She is celebrated when she is there. So if she is opposite of that, The opposite of being exalted is, in modern terms, we would say kind of canceled, right? Like no support, no followership, not really desired or liked in that space. So Libra in Virgo, or sorry, Venus in Virgo is considered to be in fall. Now she's still in earth signs, which is kind of good for her, but she's in fall. So if we see how Venus is able to do a good job managing the affairs of Libra for this, we see not only is she averse, so in a blind spot to Libra and to the sun and to what's going on, but she's in the sign of her fall. So we're going to notice that things that Venus rules in mundane astrology, Venus is sort of your general feminine energy. And I can list off some keywords if you want to hear them, but Venus is not really in a situation to be able to do what she would normally want to do. So the situation for this time is not as active for sure, and in fall. So it's just not that celebrated of a position for her. So Amber says, AJ asks, do elements compete in a chart, or if they are in the same element, are they in tune with each other naturally? So this gets into aspects. Actually, aspects really work with this. So to your point, AJ, Libra and Aquarius working together, interacting as two air signs, they are in trine to each other. We have Libra here, we have Aquarius down here, and then we also have Gemini over here. They form a triangle, and that's like a slide. If you think about something like really easily sliding and working, the trine aspect is given the nature of Jupiter. So it's the best aspect we have between two planets or points. So the other thing that we have is, let's see, you can have aspects in square to each other. And so they're going to be the same modality. So we can see the cardinal axis here of Capricorn, Libra, Cancer, and Aries. They're all cardinal signs, but they're each different elements. So there's a lot of action required there. Squares are given the sort of energy of Mars when we talk about the nature of their aspects. If you have an air sign and a fire sign, they are both the masculine type of energy. And so they have something in common, right? And so we consider that's the sextile aspect. That's given the nature of Venus. And then from there, we also have the opposition, which is two signs that are opposite each other, which is given the nature of Saturn, I believe. Yes. And so you can see how the aspects kind of play into how well these different criteria work with each other. So amazing question, really relevant. And that's kind of the easy way to remember that. So yeah, what we're looking at is a lot of focus on Libra topics because the moon is here, the sun is here, Mercury is here, but Venus as the manager of all of that isn't able to really help much. So there's maybe we could say that during this time, and remember, this isn't too relevant to where we are because the Aries ingress sign was fixed. So we only really have to look at the Aries ingress chart for that. I have an entire Aries ingress 2025 overview on my YouTube channel. It's like a half-hour long video. You can see more of the details there. If you're in the Modern School of Ancient Wisdom, there's an even longer version for the student study tier and higher. But in this case, this chart is very, we're going to call this incidental, right? This is a what if kind of situation. So if we look at this, we're seeing that it's, I mean, not awesome, but look at the world right now and tell me if you think that the next 3 months are going to be completely benefic with, Venusian qualities of peace and amicability and all of those things. Maybe not necessarily. We are in a time that has been going on for a while where there are more tensions than that, right? So it's not to say that like the world's falling apart, especially in the next 3 months, but it is just saying like it's not mitigating that more than what we would expect. That's, I think, the most diplomatic way I can share that. I'm not super concerned about it, but also my expectations are managed for that. So that's where I would put it as well. Venus, of course, being in fall, I expect to roll my eyes a lot at a lot of things that people say regarding the demographics of the population that are not your standard majority. And if you want me to be more specific about that, I will. But for the purposes of being as neutral as possible, that's how I'm going to phrase that. Uh, AJ says, I've been trying to take my own peace daily because there isn't much I can do. That's hugely important. And again, let's think about just going into the nature of this time, this season, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. If we're coming into autumn, it's a period where the sun, now having equal daylight and nighttime, is going to start having less daylight and more nighttime. The sun is getting ready to rest, right? The sun is waning in its daily light. So it's okay that we conserve our own energy. It's okay that we take time to rest. This is the time of year to give yourself even more permission to do that than you might already give. So that is something that I would definitely emphasize. And remember, the moon in world astrology, mundane astrology, represents the people. And I really like that the moon is in Libra because at least maybe the people are focused on balance, fairness, justice, their connections to each other. Em and I have a podcast episode coming out later today where we analyze the energy of this, and I do bring in a little bit of the astrology as well. So you'll be able to review that podcast episode too and get more insight on that. Shauna includes be forced to during cold and flu season. Yeah. So rest or be encouraged strongly to rest by your body. Yes. I did this funny thing over the weekend. I'll stop sharing the screen now. So in anticipation of my trip, I decided to get updated on my seasonal vaccines. And I told them like, hey, not this arm, right? Can we do it in that arm? And then I tried to sleep that night. I'm a side sleeper, so I can't sleep on this side right now because the shoulder's a mess. And then this side was sore as heck. And I fortunately do not get a lot of side effects from vaccines. But there was this moment where I was just like, it had been such a long day. We had been going from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. just doing stuff. And I think that was a little bit more energy than I had to spare at the time. And so I did have a minute where I'm like, I can't move and I'm uncomfortable. And suddenly I'm feeling every breeze from the fan in my room and I can't stand it. So poor Dan had to help me like situate myself in a position where I could actually rest, which was fun. But hey, the good news is yesterday my arm got over it, so it's fine. Last night was the first night I slept without any kind of discomfort or pain or anything like that, which is really encouraging to me because the trip is coming up and I have a system figured out. So it's going to be okay. I am wearing a shirt with the scales on it today. Well spotted, AJ. This is my shirt that not only reminds me of Libra season, but also has my Ruth Bader Ginsburg quote on it. I'm wearing it because I will be going out publicly today. And I tend to do this. If I'm going out publicly and I have a shirt that kind of lets you know where I'm at, I will wear it. And so this is what I decided for today because of the equinox and also because it's my first day of physical therapy. So just kind of letting people have a heads up of where I stand before we get into conversation. I like to think about it not as imposing, but just informing. And yeah, so happy Libra season, everybody. Yeah, it's very cool. Ding. Yeah, it did that. Which means hopefully that's a good choice. And I'm sure it is. So we still have plenty of time left. Does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to hear about? Anything they would like to ask or be informed on? Let me know. I promise you, putting together a couple rants right now that we can get into later. I would love it if you have some that you'd like me to get into. Oh, you know what? This would be an off the cuff rant. It would be entirely off the cuff with few resources that I could quote off the top of my head. I did not get enough time to really do the research on this, but has anybody heard that the rapture is supposed to be tomorrow? I can tell you a little bit more about that. And most of my resources will be life experience. Yeah, I heard the new rapture news for tomorrow. Every day is rapture day. Yeah, so I don't think so. I did this again back in, you remember 2024, the April 8th eclipse where everybody was like, that's going to be the rapture. I remember that everybody thought that was going to be the rapture. They did this a lot in 2012 as well. Like when the Left Behind series came out, everybody started fixating on 2012 as that's when the rapture is going to be. And it wasn't. We actually threw an end of the world party for fun because we were like, we're probably going to wake up tomorrow morning, but hey, it's a reason to throw a party. So yeah, cool. I'm really glad. Hi, Lauren. The rapture is a really interesting thing. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I was raised on the rapture juice. I was raised on Left Behind as a series. I read all 12 books. I got really into it. I read like Revelations over and over and over again as like a 14-year-old. I was in the sauce on this one, partially because when I was younger, I was panicked to heck about dying. And to me, a rapture meant I didn't have to do that. So I leaned in a lot. And hi, Steph, it's good to see you. So yeah, I really got into it. I understood the Bible code. I got into the whole thing. I watched all the documentaries. I read a ton of books. And then I realized that that was bypassing. And this was before I even got really into where I am now spiritually. This was before I deconstructed. I started realizing how that was bypassing and how I was not living my life at all because I was anticipating this event that somehow didn't make sense to me and was one of those just trust me on this kind of things that I don't like. I literally look for resources on anything I can find. And forgive my ASMR here for a second, but I'm going to look up something because I want to give you more of a resource here. So the rapture and tribulation theory is something that originated primarily in the 1830s, only the 1830s. And the person that you would want to look into is John Nelson Darby. And there's also a 13-year or a teenage girl named Margaret MacDonald. And this was something that happened in Scotland at the time. And what was going on was, they were just trying to create this doctrine for people to follow their methodology a little bit more. The more a sense of urgency you give someone, the more willing they are to lean in, right? And that's just something that we understand to certain degrees, and it's unfortunate, right? Then, as I would do research on this, I kept finding that they weren't the scriptures they were citing, all the things were scattered throughout the Bible, all over the place. And then if you do even more research, when you get into the Old Testament, they were not thinking about the same stuff that Christians were thinking about later, like centuries later, right? They weren't trying to anticipate the second coming of Jesus. They were trying to anticipate maybe the first coming of a savior. And so I'm actually in a part of the Bible right now I'm reading a little bit every day, reading all of the footnotes, all of the essays, all of the context, and then also the scripture itself in the most direct translation I can find using the Oxford Annotated Bible right now. And so that's my primary resource for this. And it's not discussing rapture stuff. At the time, it'll be like, some Christians think that this was, but it was the Christians that reimagined interpretations of things to bring it that way. And again, not until the 1800s. So what we're getting is someone just trying to make something a theory where it wasn't there to begin with. Yes, a lot of scriptures can be quoted. Trust me, I know a lot of them. I know the songs that base off of a lot of them. But I really don't think the rapture as it is described, people just poofing, I don't think that's going to be a thing. Now, let me be very clear. I still work with the energy of Jesus and the Christ kind of energy. I do not align with the fundamentalist church at all. But I do a lot of Christian mysticism and I lean into that kind of energy a lot. And so one of the rants I'm preparing for you guys is a rant on the Trinity and how that is actually something that is a theme throughout not just Christianity, but other religions as well. So it can kind of decentralize and pull apart and untangle the knot that Christianity has put on an idea of Trinitarian concepts or triune concepts or even triple goddesses and things, right? We've seen that show up. It does not belong to just the Christian doctrine. So I can get into that later. And it goes into various religions. Almost every origin creation story seems to have a sort of set of three that helps out with that. And so this is another thing where we see there's another set of three involved in creation yet again. So I'll get into that later. Yeah. Coming soon, a Trinity rant with really good sources. So yeah, I'm not the only one here who has done research on this or who was engrossed in this as a younger person. But Shauna makes a good point. I was in deep dive comparison of the prophecies in Daniel compared to Revelations. Yeah. So those were taken completely, like cherry picked out of context, right? And then a person took them and became popular. It was, something that went viral in the 1800s. That concept is not something that people were anticipating at all. Now, you could say like Paul was. Paul thought Jesus was coming back and had a lot to say about that in his letters and things. But even that is subject to a lot of scrutiny as far as the authorship and continuity and that kind of stuff, right? So one of the things I really want to help people feel grounded in is that the hype stuff, if it's trying to engender a sense of fear or even, I'm going to go there, superiority in you, I wouldn't go with it. I wouldn't go with it. If it's someone saying you're better than this group of people because you're with us, or you better start doing what I believe because you'll be left behind or something, I wouldn't take that. I would not take that, especially if it's in like a spiritual context and not in a more immediate events are occurring kind of thing. Again, I still don't believe superiority is grounds for this, but having your own judgment and listening to any nerves that you have in real world situations that require you to make a judgment on your own safety, listen to your instincts on that one, right? But if someone is trying to instill fear in you or instill superiority in you and you're encountering them, especially on social media, my first reaction to that is, are you following them and why? Because you're just letting them into your energy more and more. And you don't want that. That's a consistent, like, imagine you have a well and there's just something not good dripping into it. That's your algorithm. That's your news feed or your timeline or whatever you want to call it. That's your well of energy. It's your subconscious energy. And everybody that you follow gets to have a drip in that bucket. And you want to make sure that those drips are not corrupting the well in whatever way that is. So that's my go-to way of saying, like, is this aligned or isn't it aligned? Do you feel like this is corrupting the water, or do you feel like it's a good fresh water source for you? Keep that in mind. Do I believe that we are going to be raptured or people are going? I don't think I'd go. Do I believe that the rapture is happening tomorrow? No, I don't. I believe I'm going to Thailand later this week. So when I was a kid, though, fun story, as I heard about the rapture, one of the things that I would pray for, this is embarrassing because wow, but I would pray to be left behind because I thought it was really cruel to just abandon everybody when there's built into that whole tribulation theory, there's supposed to be the opportunity where there's a third coming, believe it or not. And so who is supposed to figure that out? And I was like, well, why would you abandon everybody by taking all the helpful people away? If you're looking for volunteers to stay to help people, I'd be there. So I used to pray that I would be left behind to be as useful as possible in a situation like that. And now I pray to be left behind for other reasons. Because I think that my people would still be here. That sounds a little bit wild, but that's where it is these days. So yeah, I do not subscribe to that methodology or that theory anymore, even though it was something I was raised really heavily in. It's something I've definitely pulled myself out of. Have some of the things that have been going on in recent years made me rethink the Antichrist a little bit? Sure. But also still doing the diligence on that. I don't think it's going to be like Jerry B. Jenkins and who's the other guy that did Left Behind? I forget. But they were the ones who wrote Left Behind. And I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, and this is what I would tell to my family when they would talk about it. I said, what if the second coming is an individual thing? What if it's you realizing that your only job is to love another person? And that's the reality of being Christian, which, by the way, Christian would be loving each other. So, what if the second coming is a personal revelation or awakening to, I don't have to hate people. I don't have to separate myself from people. I can just be kind to another person. And then you're making paradise where you're at. And what if that 1,000 years of heaven on earth, by the way, is people figuring out that we don't have to be so stupid to each other all the time? But that's just me. um, so yeah, that's where I'm kind of at on that. Amanda says, oh, by the way, you're getting a picture of Jack back here. If you see his little face, hi, buddy. Um, one of the youth retreats I went to in high school basically LARPed Left Behind. Wow. Yeah, but that was a thing, right? It's what was going on in those spaces. So to everybody who's here and relates to that, hi, you are not alone. I don't think you're weird. I think you're brave, and I think you've done a lot of good work. And I'm proud of you, even though it's not my place to be proud of you. I hope you're also proud of you. Um, yeah, AJ says that reminds me of when high schools would dramatize drunk driving car accidents. Yeah, do you remember those blackout days? I think they were where you'd get like just tapped throughout the day, and you'd have to wear like a white T-shirt, and you would then be representing someone every couple minutes who died because of drunk driving. That's kind of twisted too, right? So just keep in mind, guys, all of the hype that's going on around this. I don't think it's a big deal. There's certainly nothing in the astrology that says a cataclysmic event like that would happen. Not for the year, not for the ingress, not for tomorrow. Going back to 2024, April 8th, it was a total solar eclipse over America. And of course, that meant that this, of course, had to be the rapture because it was over America and center of the world, I guess. That bugged me. But even then, it was like, no, because if it were, the eclipse would have been closer to the horizon, and it wasn't. We are actually currently in what Ptolemy would say is the peak energy for the 2024 April 8th solar eclipse right now. Now, would that mean that this is the rapture? I still don't think so. We're not seeing any of the planets responsible in that chart popping off necessarily right now. So this would still not be the time I would narrow it down to if that were an omen of the rapture, which, by the way, I don't think it was. So if for some reason people do get raptured and you want to come for me after that, I would be happy to have that dialogue with you, and we'll figure it out from there. But also, I'm still not that concerned. I don't think I'm going to have that problem. Fun fact, maps are adjusted to make America bigger than it actually is on a global scale. So the Mercator projection, you heard that from a map maker, and that's just not just the Mercator projection. So Mercator or Mercator projection, because the world is round, it stretches that middle section of the world out when you try to flatten a map. And so a lot of things, particularly America, look a lot bigger than they are. Oh, Amber or AJ, you're the map maker. That's something I didn't know about you that I find fascinating. I would love to talk about that more sometime. But yeah, so the Mercator projection will stretch things out. It is a projection. And so then it also does not do justice to things. So there are some nations that are not nearly as big as they look on the map. And then there are some that are a lot bigger than they look on the map. So just knowing you can find maps that are like true to scale. I think that's something I would Google, the true to scale map. Or AJ, is there a way that people can see a more accurate proportional map? What should they research on that? Because I defer to you as the expert. That's fantastic. They make the commercial maps different, and the old job, they had the proper size. Oh, wow. That's probably an interesting thing to look at. That's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that with us, AJ. Cool. So we have about 5 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to share? Anything that you'd like to celebrate? I'm here for it. Like I said, we went over the astrology today. We went over some folk magic things that you can do along with the Libra ingress. We ranted lightly about the rapture. And if you want to hear more on that in particular in a more full developed rant that will be less timely, or maybe not, because they'll have to pick another date after tomorrow, we can do that as well. So just let me know what you guys are interested in. I am here for you. I appreciate all of you. I know a lot of you were multitasking today. It's a busy day. I've been running around like mad this morning trying to get things done. So I appreciate the energy that you guys are also feeling. Remember, Libra is a cardinal air sign. That is like, phew, cardinal being a sign of initiation and beginning and like revving up the engines, and then air being a sign of little friction, right? So we can think of a lot of things moving quickly, especially today. I hope that today is very good for you. I hope the Libra energy of fairness, justice, balance, and maybe a little bit of Venus's serenity comes in there as well. AJ says usgs.gov is a good place to start if you want if you want maps that are accurate. So really appreciate that too. Friendly reminder, this is the last live we will have for a few weeks. I already have the next live scheduled, so you can set that, click on it, and be reminded for that. It will be October 13th because I will be traveling for the next few weeks. I will still be posting everything that I have that would be a consistent post is already scheduled and set up for you guys, whether it's on social media or in the Patreon. You won't miss a beat because I've already got it done. And then I'll also be posting some more impromptu stuff from my travels. Let me know what kind of stuff you'd like to see, and I'll make sure I focus on that a little bit more. And yeah, I'm really excited for this trip. I'm so excited. I am always glad to spend the morning with you as well. I will miss you guys the next 2 Mondays. Trust me. Always a good recommendation from Shauna. Look both ways at crosswalks. Do that. And then also, if you're at a crosswalk where you push a button and the lights flash, just make sure all the cars stop, I guess. Like I swear I did everything I could. But it is what it is. And again, the astrology is there. Shauna, you'll be able to see at least the replay if you're not able to make it live. I'll show you all of the astrology associated with my accident in particular. I'm sorry, everybody, that I can't show you, to anybody who would be interested in it, the dash cam footage. I'm so bummed about that. But it is what it is. I promise to always tell the story as accurately as possible. Awesome. Thank you all. I plan to have a wonderful trip. I will, like I said, though, be missing all of you, and I will stay connected via social media. I will still have some access to my emails and things like that if you're looking. If I'm slower getting back to you, you know why. But I hope to jump on, even if I'll be heavily medicated. Yeah, you've got big things coming up as well. I wish everybody peace and comfort and health and safety and all of those things right now. Because, it's a weird time. It is a weird time. Yeah. All right, everybody. I will let you guys get to your day. And I wish you all of the efficiency for everybody who's multitasking this morning. My gratitude is with you and to you. And I will see you in a few weeks. Have a wonderful, wonderful equinox today. Bye, guys.